G'day, guys. Welcome to a super fast review of Saturday, the 16th of September at Randwick. 7 stakes day, shorts day, whatever you want to call it. We'll get straight into the action because I want to see how quick I can get through this. Race 1, 1600 metre, benchmark 72. Patrica missed sitting outside the leader here. Fast tempo. They go really quick, back it off a little bit between the 8 and the 6, but fast tempo throughout and do come home pretty steady. I thought this horse sitting outside the leader was probably the horse to follow here. Second up to the mile, can race in similar grade. And the other horse that was worth forgiving for sure is Back Rower, who also sits wide, chasing this fast tempo. They don't do anything crazy, sitting up outside the leader, under pressure on the turn, but rightly so. And I thought just the way it sort of sticks on late, Patrica missed with a softer run, maybe getting it its own way in front or something like that, can run a race. And Back Rower, who loomed up and just peaked on its run late after sitting wide first time to the mile, could also do something next time out. Race 2, the highway over 1,000. I thought there was an error here from Karen McAvoy not leading on Once Again My Girl. Sorry, out here. Once it didn't lead, you could see Iron Wheel sort of kicks up and they end up anchor dropping to the bend, which allows Derry Grove to come into the race. And hard fit, strong horse was always going to be very hard to beat. Thought he gave away all his advantage on Once Again My Girl, sort of not taking up that position and sprinting away and making him chase. Unlucky runner Supreme, Supreme Effort. Sharp Shock was a bit unlucky. Solero was unlucky, but I thought it was a little bit plain at the same time. And Divine Sinner was a little bit unlucky back in the field too. I'd be very concerned about Derry Grove if you're thinking about winning Kosciuszko's. I think that was a pretty steady race, and he had a plenty go his way there. Race 3, another race not really worth talking about too heavily, I didn't think. Change of tactics from Kiss the Bride, and I think Mission Phoenix believe them too much. Should have led. I think it goes close if it kicks up and holds the front, Mission Phoenix, and rolls. It also hurt the chances of the other favourite in the racing, Gan Terrain, who tried to settle closer, then ended up over-racing back in the field here and did a lot wrong. The best horse, well, the horse with the best turn of foot in the race was Straight Acer, sat out the back, watched it all unfold, did nothing, tracked him up, put him away. I don't think we'll see this horse race over a mile too many times more. Everything just sort of went his way here. He went past the pack, and as you can see late, he's absolutely cast on the line. He sat up, but the horse was cast regardless. I think you'll see this horse, if he wants to go up in class, going back in distance, and I would not be forgiving too many of the horses behind him. Race 4, pretty uninventive race. The winner, Osred Flirt, sort of gets back in the field. Cheerful Legend, is that the name of the horse? Cheerful Legend misses the kick, bit of a forgive. Going to the business end because there's not a lot happens here, I didn't think, during the race. I thought May Rose was a forgive. Second up, 1,400 metres, 7 days after the first run. Altive back on the inside, a complete forgive, just a bit of a barrier trial, not positive, negative. Who else was in the race? Super Pursuit wasn't a bad effort. I can forgive Hollymans, thought it got back further than it possibly had to, and no knock on the winner. I'm just concerned that the race is not super strong, but the winner's a very honest horse, only first up and can improve for sure. So that's race 4. Kingston Town, race 5. I will spend more than 10 seconds on this. I'd love to know what the heck's going through the thought of the rider on King Frankel here. Sort of hit ridden with a whip early to try and hold a position. They go really fast, sort of 12 lengths above to the 800. This horse, King Frankel's been sitting outside them, and then to the 800, he then takes off. So this is the 800 metre mark where they've gone 12 lengths above average for this grade over this trip. He's taken off and sort of put more venom into the race. They end up going 15 lengths above to the 600 metre mark, and this horse drops out beaten a long way. The leader drops out beaten a long way, and the horse that sat in the middle of them in probably, arguably the harder position throughout, runs away from them. So this horse will go very close in a Metropolitan, you would imagine. It's going to start a shortish price favourite in Just Fine. Didn't mind Skylab to run down the outside, but other than that, the winner was just far and away the best run in the race, and an exceptional. Both its runs have sat outside the leader and just brained them. Nothing I can say other than positive things about Just Fine. T-Rose Stakes, they go really slow here. Thought they went too slow. An error on Tropical Squall. Thought that Hippo just could have rolled along a bit more. He just allowed those horses in behind with superior turn of foot to really conserve as much energy as possible. Komochi does get flushed 3 wide here over the 1,400 metres, but a very slow run race. So not a lot of pressure on it. I'm not too forgiving on it is what I'm saying. It's gone okay. Tis Invincible's back in the middle, finally settles every chance. Not a lot happens. As I said, Tropical Squall should have been rolling and just gets completely out-sprinted by the 2 in front of it. French Endeavour, okay down the outside. Two to Levita, okay. Unique Ambition, okay. Private Legacy, okay. What do we do with this form heading to a race like the Flight Stakes? I'm not really sure. Got to be careful with these slow tempo races going up in distance, especially when they haven't set the clock alight the last 600. There's just a lot of queries over this race. So you'd even be looking at sort of form coming away from this, potentially coming into the Flight Stakes. I do think Tropical Score can improve up in distance ridden more aggressively. I think we'll see that. And I think it's, you can potentially turn the tables on the first two, even though it looked convincingly beaten there. 7 Stakes here is run at an even more ridiculous tempo. Zaki sits outside Gone Global. They're absolutely walking here. Don't be fooled by the vision. They're going 12 lengths below to the 800-metre mark and drop it even further to 14 lengths below. So anything out the back here really was up against it. The horse I liked in the race was Who You Mal. Didn't jump as they hoped. I thought it would race closer. It didn't. Races with a horse outside and in, sort of keen the whole way. Doesn't really get into clear air until very late, sort of pushing horses out of the way, never really gets balanced, and thought it did a good job, similar to First Up, just keeps finding the line despite everything going against it. Fangirl ran a usually honest race, sprinted home the winner and second horse, every possible chance. My over on every chance, but okay. Zayrek, every chance, but okay. Thought Fireburn was really good from back in the field, and they're probably the two horses I want to take out of the race. I think Who You Mal can go to a race like the Epsom, 53.5 on its back, and run a race if that's the race they choose to run it in, which is pretty likely a couple of weeks from now. It's had 2 absolute forgive runs, and it should be primed to go over the mile at Randwick in a race like that with no weight on its back. The shorts, race 8, again, I thought the leader went too slow here, just sort of got full control and then just didn't take advantage of it early enough, dropped the speed even further from the 8 to the 6, and that's why a horse like Private Eye, who's landed certainly closer than anyone expected, I believe, hasn't had to work too hard to get into the race. If he had sort of taken off here from the 800 to the 600 and at least kept the tempo or increased it and then increased off it from the last 600, that would have made a horse like Private Eye have to work harder, and it would have made the horses behind work harder to get into the race. So horses like Buenos Noches, certainly a little bit unlucky, absolutely flying. In Secret comes with it. Okay again. Remark, every possible chance. I thought Hawaii 5-0 went okay. Really like the run of Ruthless Dame down the outside. Some really good runs in this race. And as you see, sort of Overpass is not weakening on the line. He just might have just left a bit in the tank there that he could have used earlier to make these horses chase, and the result might have been a little bit different. But Private Eye, great first up. Buenos Noches continuing to thrive. In Secret was okay for sure. Remark was okay. Hawaii 5-0, good first up. I thought Remarkable Dame was really good first up. Second last race here, and not a lot to report. Tamerlane first up, fresh, sets a solid tempo. Absolute forgive, thought it did a good job. Redina was first up, given a kick in to get up there early. So I thought there was plenty of merit in the effort of the winner, because it sort of does race up close to this solid tempo first up, pushes out, strong to the line. Couldn't find any real excuses for Converge other than ridden a little bit close, but I thought the jury was a little bit out on him. Kobe was okay. Nothing too exciting to report in this race, but the winner is probably the only horse in the race I could see going on to better races. Alentia, not sure what to make of it, dragged out of the race. Its effort was okay. The last, another solid tempo, a bit of a surprise that Pioneer River takes on Kaboo for the front. And after that, Kaboo sort of takes the sit. Thought it was a good ride from Reggie to at least sit off this horse. Slipstreamed it as much as he could, but in saying that, the horse has done all the work in the race first up and held off Casablanca, who I thought was going to pick it up for sure. Did sit a little bit wider than I thought at first look in the run, didn't have cover the whole way, but just with that fitness edge, I thought he'd pick up Kaboo just because he was a bit of a sitting shot, as you can see, but he fights on, and he's a horse with really solid upside. This is Kobe, sorry. The last one wasn't Kobe. So Kobe was good first up. My favourite horse that I love to hate, Dalcini, just peaks on its run, but good first up. I'd love to see her in a straight race, probably a mare's race, 1,000 to 1,200 down the straight, and see what she did, because I think she's just a talented horse, but she just always sort of races in that rearward position and struggles to run the other distances out for mine. But Kaboo, really good. That's the whole review. Tried to get through it as quick as I could. Who You Mal's my horse to follow, and I did like the runs of Fireburn and Ruthless Dame. Not sure where they're going to head, but I think they returned in really good order as well. Who You Mal hopefully goes to a race like the Epsom. As I said, I think it's about 50 to 1 at the moment. I think it's worth a spec. Cheers, guys.